There are so many mistakes that us candle makers make. We're going to talk about how to avoid them and how to fix them. We're going to do it together right now. Let's go. You're using the wrong amount of fragrance oil. Hi, my name is Jay Catalano. Now, some waxes and wicks just don't work together, and there is nothing you could do about it except not use that combination of wax and wicks. But besides that, did you know that you can use the wrong amount of fragrance oil in your candles, which will make the candle underperform or not perform at all? Yes, it's true. Too little fragrance oil and you might not smell much or any fragrance when your candle is lit. And too much fragrance oil and you might not smell much or any fragrance when your candle is lit. Why do I feel like that's deja vu? Why do I feel like that's deja vu? Okay, stop that. Naturally, if you have too little fragrance oil in your candle wax, there is a possibility that it's just not enough fragrance oil in your wax to sufficiently distribute into the air when your candle is lit. In addition, if you have too much fragrance oil, you could potentially clog up your wick, which will slow down the wick's combustion rate. Think of it like a straw that has something stuck in it, like a small ice cube or a piece of fruit from a smoothie. If the particle gets lodged in the straw, the ability to drink its contents from the straw becomes increasingly difficult due to it being clogged up. If a wick gets clogged up, it can't burn properly. If it can't burn properly, it won't allow the fragrance oil to get released into the air. So you need to use the right amount of fragrance oil or else you will be throwing money away. Or shall I say burning money away. It's best to know that most waxes can accept a fragrance load up to 12%, even up to 15% in some cases. I would never use 15%, by the way. However, to get to that sweet spot, you will want to start in the middle and work your way up or down according to the results you observe. So what is half of 12%? Ooh, I know, 7. I got it. Is it 6? Yes. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to make a wickless candle. I'll explain what that is a little later on. Starting with 6% fragrance oil load in your candle, and if you find that the hot throw is throwing some great smelling fragrance, you might have found it and might not need to make any other adjustments. However, nobody ever gets that lucky, so in that case, you can bump it up to 8% and compare to see if your nose or someone else's nose smells a difference. Keep in mind that using more fragrance oil doesn't mean better hot throws, so you will need to adjust accordingly. If you find that 8% is better, then you can stop there, or you can go up and continue your testing. I would only go up 1% incrementally as it's starting to get closer to that 12% mark. Then, once you've found the right fragrance oil load that works for you, you are done for that fragrance only. Unfortunately, you'll have to test others just to make sure. Okay, I know what you're thinking. You failed 3rd grade math and you have no clue how much fragrance oil 6, 8, 10, or 12% is. Got it. Now, I work in grams, so let me give you an example in grams so you can better understand. This candle jar uses approximately 250 grams of candle contents. That is a combination of both fragrance oil and wax. For the most part, I use 9% fragrance load. So let's figure out how much I need for wax and how much I need for fragrance oil. Get your calculator out. Ready? Okay, we're going to take our total weight of 250 grams and times that by 9%, or 0.09, which comes out to a total of 22.5 grams. Then I'm going to take that total number again, which is 250, and subtract 22.5, which is my fragrance oil amount we just figured out. That comes to a total of 227.50 grams. That means in order to fill this candle jar, I need to mix 227.5 grams of candle wax with 22.5 grams of fragrance oil. Make sure you have this awesome kitchen scale. It even calculates micrograms. Love it. Let's move on. You are using the same wick size for every candle. Congratulations, you found the right combination of wax, fragrance oil percentage, and wick size. You now have a winner and are ready to add another fragrance to your collection. But wait, once it's all said and done, your candle just isn't performing like the first one. Maybe the flame was too wild, or the reverse happened, the flame just died out. Why? Why does this always keep happening to me? Never fear, Wick Man is here. I don't know if I'm going to use that again. It's your wick! Arguably, the wick plays the most challenging part in candle making. The wick is the mediator between the fuel that travels up the wick and the performance of how it burns. Remember what we talked about before? The wick can get clogged up by the amount of fragrance oil used. Well, it can also change the way a wick works by the ingredients in the fragrance oil. By changing the fragrance oil, which has different ingredients in it, you might find that the wick performs differently. You might have to wick up or down depending on how it's performing. Unfortunately, you have to test another candle with that fragrance oil, but don't worry. I have an easy solution that will help you out greatly. Use wickless testing, which will get you in the ballpark to see which wick performs best, so you don't waste wax, fragrance oil, and time. Then once you find the wick that works, you can wick your candle properly and test it thoroughly. What is wickless candle testing? Wickless candle testing is the act of creating a candle with the fragrance oil, however, without putting a wick in the candle. What? That makes no sense. How am I supposed to test wicks if there is no wick in the candle? Don't worry, I'll explain. Once your wickless candle is cured and you're ready to test it, you can place a hole in the center of your wickless candle and place the wick size you want in that hole to test the candle. If you have wooden wicks, you don't need to put a hole in your candle, as you can just slide the wooden wick in with no problem. It's just that simple. Full details on how to do a wickless testing right here. Let's move on. You are relying solely on your own nose to test hot throw. Time and time again, I see people complaining about how their own hot throw from a candle that they created isn't really there. Then later on, they find out that the hot throw was better than they expected. Hot throw, the fragrance oil scent that you smell after the candle is lit, is such a subjective thing. No two people smell or interpret the smell of a hot throw the same, and once you are personally tied to your sense, there is a bias that inevitably happens. In addition, if you are surrounded continuously by fragrance scents, you might develop nose blind. What is nose blind? Nose blindness is a phenomenon that occurs when a person becomes accustomed to the certain scent or odor and as a result can no longer detect it. This happens because the human nose is able to adapt to odors over time and the brain becomes less responsive to them. Now, it is possible to reset your sense of smell by taking a break from the scent or by exposing yourself to a different, stronger scent. This can help to reactivate the receptors and restore your sense of smell. However, it's probably best to just have someone else test the hot throw of your candle before making a decision of which way to go. For example, my nose doesn't work as well as it used to. It's not that I can't smell anything, but I can tell it's not as sharp as before. So I hire nose professionals. That's right, this is a true thing. Nose professionals. My kids. I offer them a few cookies or a little extra video game time, and voila, the kids do the scent smelling for me. Now, I am not saying don't use your nose to test your own hot throw. Rather, incorporate another person or two or three to give you feedback to make sure you are on the right track before you make any final decisions. Trust me, doing so will save you time, money, and headaches. Let's move on. You aren't letting your candles cure properly before burning them. Some people say they are too impatient and can't wait to test their candles. I gotta test them now, I gotta test them now. Sometimes they are so impatient, they test them way before they're even cured. Ironically, that impatience will make you wait even longer because you will have gotten incomplete results testing too early. Why? Because you must let your candles cure before you test them. When you make candles, the wax and fragrance oil need some time to cure or settle before they will be able to burn properly. This is because when you pour hot wax into your candle vessel, the wax is still a liquid state, needing time to not only solidify, but for the fragrance oil to fully blend and improve their fragrance throw within the wax. Think of it like a cooked meal. Why does some food taste better the next day? According to the Institute of Food Technologists, flavors can be enhanced overnight due to chemical reactions which continue to take place after cooking and produce more and/or new flavor molecules in a variety of ingredients. Candle making in that respect is very similar, and that is why we must let our candles cure. Now, curing time can vary depending on the type of wax used, the size of the candle, and the ambient temperature and humidity. Here is a breakdown of candle curing times. Paraffin wax, 5 days. Palm wax, 1 week. Rapeseed wax, 1 week. Beeswax, 10 days. Soy wax, 2 weeks. And coconut wax, 2 weeks. Now, can you test your candles before they're cured? Well, yes, you can do whatever you want. However, and this is a big however, you really should test your candles after they have cured to make sure your candles are safe and perform up to your standards, as things might change in either the positive or negative direction. Let's move on. You are giving or selling candles without insurance. I cannot tell you how many times I see people ask if they need to have candle insurance, even if they are making candles as a hobby and giving them out as gifts. No bueno. Yes, you need candle insurance even if you are giving away your candles. I mean, if you're giving away only 2 or 3, that's one thing. But if you're constantly making them and constantly giving them away and someone's house burns down, or worse, what can be worse than someone's house burning down? Guess who they'll come after? You guessed it, you. Yes, you need candle insurance. Over 10,000 fires happen every year, and the majority of them happen in December. Now, if you are selling candles and you don't have insurance, here's what you should do right now. Take your hand, put your thumb in your mouth, blow 6 or 7 times, then release that hand from your mouth and slap yourself. Are you nuts? You live in the United States, the land of I'm going to sue your ass just because. And if you have any money or assets, oh boy, no bueno. In addition, candle insurance will not only protect you from the damage or liability, but it will protect your inventory, lost or stolen merchandise, equipment protection, and the biggest of all, peace of mind. Now, where do you get candle insurance from? You can get candle insurance from Next, Liberty Mutual, Hiscox, Acuity, State Farm, Soap Guild, Thimble, and you will only pay about $40 a month, sometimes less. For peace of mind, that's totally worth it. Let's move on. You aren't testing your candles properly. Now, this should be a no-brainer. Let me ask you a question. What is the most important part of making candles? If you said because it's fun and you like to be creative, then get that hand back out. No, it's safety. I mean, you can't have fun and be creative in jail? Well, maybe you can, but I bet most people who are in jail would rather have fun and be creative on the outside. Am I right? I have no idea why I'm asking you. You haven't been in jail, have you? Anyway, safety is paramount. How do you know if your candles are safe if you don't test them? How do you know if your candles perform well if you don't test them? How do you know if your candles have a hot throw if you don't test them? How do you know if your candles aren't going to burn someone's hand off when they pick it up if you don't test them? You need to test, and test again. Here are 5 tests that I believe every candle maker should perform. Number 1, a safety test. This test is performed to test the flame height, surface temperature of your jar, soot levels, and carbon formation. Number 2, performance and aesthetics candle test. This test is performed to test to see how your candle looks and acts during a candle burn, how the candle looks when it dries and cures, and how the hot throw and the cold throw smell. Number 3, power burn candle test. This test is performed to test the candle for longer than a 4-hour safety test. Basically, it's a test where you leave the candle on the entire time. Number 4, situational candle test. This test is performed in situational circumstances. How does your candle perform in the bathroom versus the bedroom or the kitchen? How does it perform when there is a breeze or a draft? Basically, you put your candle in different situations as would someone who bought your candle. Number 5, the friends and family candle test. This test is performed with friends and family so they can tell you how your candle performed. If you want more information on these tests, Take a look at this video right here. It'll break it down in much better detail. Let's move on. You have too many different candle items. You don't need a lot of product, especially if you're just beginning. Too many items will make your life more hectic and chaotic. Start small and build from there when the time is right. You've heard of the acronym KISS? Keep it simple, stupid. Now, I don't like that last word, so let's change it to KISS. Keep it simple, silly. That's it. Much better. Keeping it simple will keep your life and business simple. In addition, most people don't need 26 different items to choose from, especially if you are in the beginning phase of your candle business. If you have 1 to 3 candle jars with 3 different scents, that's a great starting point. In addition, you could always combine all 3 as a package deal or gift set. And by doing that, you in turn add another product to your line. Then, once you get more knowledgeable and comfortable in your business and even make some money, you can add in various other products like wax melts or candle jar sizes. Think of it like a first date. On the first date, you take things slow. Hopefully, you go out on a date, maybe you go to dinner and dancing, and then off to your respective houses. Maybe, and just maybe, if you're lucky, a nice and simple goodnight kiss. That's it, nothing more. Candle making has the same appeal. Start small and build your way up to bigger and better choices without stressing you, your customers, and your wallet. Let's move on. Shiny object syndrome. To follow it up on keeping it simple silly is recognizing you might have shiny object syndrome. Shiny object syndrome, acronym SOS, is a term used to describe the tendency of people who become easily distracted by new and shiny things. It's sort of like a child being drawn to a new toy in a store. They see it, they want it, and they can't focus on anything else until they get it. Now, it's called a syndrome because it can be a recurring pattern of behavior, and it can be a bit like a disease in how it can distract or derail you. Obviously, this syndrome can be problematic, whereas it can cause you to become easily distracted from candle making because you keep switching between different candle projects or personal candle making goals without ever fully committing to anything. Now, how do you rectify shiny object syndrome? Thankfully, it's curable. The first thing in combating shiny object syndrome is knowing that you might have this issue. Recognizing that you have this tendency is a huge first step in rectifying it. Then the second thing you must do is write down your plan and goals and stick to them. To be specific, you should write down the list of items you want to sell and how they're going to look, and even write down that you are not going to veer from those candles for a certain amount of time or until a specific goal has been met. That goal can be time related, like 6 months to a year, or it can be money related, like making your first $1,000. The last thing you could do is get a candle making buddy to keep you accountable. If you join a Facebook group with other candle makers, you might be able to find other candle makers in your area or your specific niche and get together to set goals to keep yourselves accountable. Plus, doing that will be more fun in the long run. And take a look at these videos that are popping up now. They're going to help you on your candle making journey. Until next time, thanks for watching. Ciao.